everyone, and welcome to episode 42 of the Dear Herbalist Podcast titled Craft and Vendor Fairs, How to Survive. If you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for your continued support. Now, to date, I have attended and sold my herbal products at over 50 vendor fairs. It's probably more than that, but we'll start with that number. I've sold at every place from large venues such as music concerts all the way down to hometown, smaller venues, schools, that kind of thing. I've sold in a variety of places. I've had some really great experiences and I've sold a lot of product. And I've also had some not great experiences and I've sold very few products. So I've had a wide range of experiences that I feel like I can talk to you about today. I have made many mistakes along the way and I wanted to share a few tips with you on how to survive this craft and vendor season. Now, when I say a few, I mean more than that, because when I sat down and really thought about my journey, I had to go all the way back to vendor shows and craft fairs. And I thought about all the various experiences that I had. And I was like, you know what? I've had a lot. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to talk about. So I tried to condense it down into about 12, 13 points that I'm going to go through fairly quickly, not too quick, but fairly quickly. And hopefully you can get something out of this today. And hopefully you can learn some things that will help you along your vendor fair and craft journey. So let's get into this. First, let's define craft and vendor shows. And are they the same? Now, essentially they are, but the main difference is that craft fairs tend to have mostly vendors that are selling their crafts, handmade goods, crochet, that type of stuff, as well as foods, all made at home. At vendor shows, you tend to have vendors that sell a variety of products, goods, and services. So you as an herbalist may be sitting next to somebody that's selling cable. And that really happened to me. All right, but they sell a variety. Everybody's trying to sell their products, goods, and services, whether they made them at home themselves or whether they bought them somewhere in a reselling or, whatever. It's just a variety of different products and services. Now, I've sold at both types of shows. And in my opinion, I believe that, the craft fairs, handmade good, these type of things are just a better fit. While at the vendor fairs, I've sold well there too. But I think my products were more received at the craft fairs, just because people tend to go there. They want natural, homemade, they understand, versus people that go to some of these major shows and they just want pre-made products and all that kind of stuff, manufactured products and that type of thing. So you have to spend a little bit more time with them explaining your product and why they should actually purchase it. All right, so let's get into tip number 1. Choose the right show. This is first and it's very important. You got to think about what type of herbal products that you're going to sell, because this is important. Now, you can do like I did and sign up for any and every show. Okay. I don't knock the hustle. I really don't. But I do advise against this. I've learned a lot by doing that. And we often forget about the hidden costs associated with just attending shows that were not a great fit for our products and thus produce low or no sales at all. You forget about the wear and tear on your car. You forget about time spent. You forget about all other costs. Let's say if you've gone far, now you got to get a hotel. All right. So you got to be mindful of that. Not just going all willy-nilly. I'm going to sell any and everywhere I can. It's understandable, but trust me, you don't want to do that. Now, I would have to say that some of my best sales were at shows that were geared towards handmade products, wellness shows, that type of thing. The customers that came to these shows understand the value of handmade and natural products. You just have to explain to them why they need your product and it will sell. All right. Now, I've sold my products at major music festivals and I've made decent sales, but I realized that most of the people that attended those shows wanted to come for the music and the food and were less interested in carrying around a bag of products that they got from me. Okay. So don't get me wrong. Those shows, I had fun time and all of that. But on the business end, I didn't sell as much as I would like to, because again, the people that attended those shows were more focused on the music and the food. So know the audience that typically goes to these particular shows that you might be interested in. Okay. And you can go from there. Now, Another part of choosing the right show entails doing a little bit of research in the beginning on the show that you want to sign up for. Is it an annual event? Is there going to be food there as well? How well does the host advertise the previous event? How many people attended the years prior? All of this is important. Now, first annual vendor shows or craft fairs, they can be up in there. It can go either way. It could either be well attended or it could have a few people. I've seen both. So you just have to determine if it's actually worth the risk to you. Oftentimes for me, how I determine if it's worth the risk is if the booth fee is low and it's close to home, I'll probably take the risk. If it's far out and the fee is over $50, I'm gonna have to pass on that. Just because you just don't know. And it's not, if it's further out, it's not just a $50 or $100 booth fee. You've got gas, you've got food, you've got maybe hotel depending on how far it is, or couch surfing, whatever it is that you do. There's other expenses tied to that. So if it's a first annual show, just kind of weigh it out and determine whether or not you want to take that risk. Now, one thing I have to stress, all right, because a lot of the places that I look to find shows, I would go on Facebook. I joined several different groups in my area, and, people would post there, but then you got to be aware of scammers. All right. So be very careful so that you don't get scammed. Sometimes they'll steal a flyer from one event host and post it themselves and say, you got to send money now, no contract, and all this other stuff. So be careful and be aware of that. Be safe out there. Talk to other vendors as well. Hey, have you attended this show? What was your experience there? Now, be mindful that they may not sell what you sell. So they may not have the sales that you might get, but they can at least give you general information. The host was really kind and accommodating. The place was really nice, or there was a really big crowd. Pay attention to the general advice that they might give you. Or the host was terrible. They didn't answer anything. We couldn't find the bathroom, or we had to walk miles to get to the bathroom. They wanted our money immediately. There was like 2 people in there that shopped at one booth. Pay attention to those things, and then sift it, because sometimes people will just complain because they had a terrible experience or they didn't get the sales they thought they got, they should have gotten. Then they'll just get to whining and complaining. All right. So like they used to say, chew the hay and spit the sticks. All right. The other thing you want to be mindful of is beware of hosts that tend to overpromise. Now, I've been to shows where they promise big numbers. They said, oh, last year we had this many, and this year we're on cue to get this many. And a lot of times they're just trying to do this to get vendors in the door. And what I'm starting to notice now is that there are a lot of hosts out there that just want to make the money off of the vendors. So they increase the vendors' fees, but they don't put too much into promoting the event. And that is detrimental to us. Yeah, you're going to get your $50, you're going to get your $100. But if nobody knows this event exists, or you just feel like you can just put a flyer on Facebook and that's enough, that's not okay. Okay? Because I'm coming to this show with the expectation that you have sufficiently done the advertising so that you can get bodies in the door. You get bodies in the door and then let the vendors do the rest. But some hosts, and I'm starting to see that even now, it's like, we increased our fees and all that for what? You had 5 people come in the door last time. You expecting 6? Like, you know what I'm saying? The building that you probably used, I don't know what the expenses are, right? But if you're trying to get more bodies and you're trying to get more vendors, make sure that you're also putting that same time and energy into promoting it and bringing the people in that have the intentions of purchasing, right? Now, you can't control their intentions as the host, but the more people, the law of averages, okay, the more people you get in there, the more likely, and they understand what the event is, not just, we have a rodeo and some vendors on the side. Because that typically, that typically doesn't work either. Because people are like, yeah, we're here for the rodeo. We're here for the balloons and the candies and the pony. Oh, and there's vendors over there. Like, no. This is a vendor event. You're going to get unique handmade things you've never seen before. Like, they really have to go all in and promote. All right. I've worked with some really, really great hosts. They did everything in their power to promote, and it showed. Okay. So try to find those hosts. Now, tip number 2, make sure you have all your pre-show work done. So a lot of that is, like I said before, research. Make sure you've got your contracts, your fees, and all that stuff taken care of. Next, you want to create a checklist. Everything you think you're going to need and more. All right? Tape, checklist, booth contracts, toilet paper, product stands, snacks. Okay? If you're going to be out in the heat, a way to cool yourself down. If you're going to be out in the cold, a way to heat yourself up. Money, extra money for your kitty. That's what I call it, the kitty. Okay? That's your money bag where you keep all your money. Make sure you got enough change. Don't go to other vendors. Hey, can I get change for a 10? Look, buddy, I'm out here. You digging in my kitty getting change. And if you get change from me, where I'm going to get change from? So make sure you got enough money. Extra product labels, bags, tissue paper. Okay? Make sure you got all this stuff. Make sure you ate breakfast that morning. Make sure you prayed. Make sure you put intention out there. Like, I'm going to sell. This is going to be a great day. Get your expense and mileage sheets. If you got kids, are they going? Make sure they have plenty of activities, snacks, and water. Because nothing is worse than you trying to make that sale, but you have to keep stopping because little Timmy is bouncing all around your booth. Because he either is on a sugar high or hasn't ate since y'all got started early at 5 o'clock in the morning. So he needs some crayons, a notepad, a tablet, something to occupy his time. Most people understand if you're bringing your kids, it is what it is. But nobody wants to be trying to look over stuff, kids running all over across their feet, poking at them, touching them, all that. People don't like all that. So if you got kids, just make sure you got an activity and a snack bag for them and plenty of water, as well as organize bathrooms, especially if you are by yourself. Organize bath. Okay, when we get in here, we're going to go ahead and go to the bathroom. If you have a trusted booth mate around this time, we're going to run to the bathroom. You want to make sure you empty those bladders as well as your own. So that way, again, you're not standing with a customer and, Mommy, but I gotta pee. So now you have to go run to the bathroom, or you yourself have to pee and leave that person in your booth that you don't know. And maybe they'll be nice and won't help themselves to your product, but you don't know that. So just kind of have all of that, those logistics. That's the pre-show work. Have all of that stuff done. Do you got everything? Do you got your tents? Do you have, your business cards? If you're taking special custom orders, do you have that paperwork for all of that? Think about everything that you could possibly think about. Write it down, create a checklist, and keep it for that morning. Make sure you've checked off everything and you've packed everything. Me, I like to pack the car the night before because I'm just like that. In the morning, I don't like to be rushed and I don't like to rush. Okay, so that's just me. I pack everything up the night before, and the only thing I'm carrying down those stairs or out to the car is my little snacks, my cooler, okay, and probably my money, because I'm not leaving that in the car either. You know what I'm saying? I don't live in no bad neighborhood or nothing, but I don't trust folks. They see you, putting a little money in the car. All right, the next thing, document necessary information. Okay, this is another tip for Uncle Sam. So if you are a legit business, all right, you are going to need to track your expenses for tax purposes. So you want to make sure that you track your mileage for each show, your food expenses, keep your receipts. If you pay retail tax, keep a list of the products that you sold. Okay. And then take the money off the top immediately and put it away, especially for retail tax. Okay. Depending on how it is in your state. Sometimes they say pay quarterly. Sometimes they say pay your retail tax monthly. Sometimes they say pay it every year. If that is the case, no matter what, make sure you keep the receipts and keep track of your products sold so you know exactly how much you need to pay in your retail taxes. Okay. Now, my advice, don't do this like me and just wait to the last minute now. Do this along the way and you won't be swamped at the end of the year trying to put it all together. Get you a notebook, some kind of tracker, keep it in your car, get an envelope, keep all your receipts as you get them. You can also download the receipt saver apps, okay, to keep track of your receipts, especially if they're old, thin, worn down. Sometimes them restaurant receipts can be really thin. So you can just snap a picture of your receipt and keep it on those apps. All right. Tip number 4, always be kind and respectful to the event host. Now you would think, because we're all adults, right? I've had kid vendors. I've seen kid vendors. My own child has been a child vendor. You would think that you wouldn't have to have this as a tip, but I've seen some crazy stuff. All right. I've seen some people talk crazy to some hosts and they're bougie and they expect all these accommodations. And it's like, ma'am, we are in a high school gym. I don't know. I think you're expecting all of these other grand things. That's not going to happen. A lot of that stuff is your responsibility to make sure that you have comfortability. Now, no, you don't want to be in a sweltering gym. All right. So bare minimum temperature should be right. Okay. But take those things into consideration. It's not their job to cater to all your little creature comforts. And so you always want to be kind and respectful to the event host, because some of these shows are juried, meaning they pick who they want in there based on what you have. And so especially if you sell well at these shows, they'll be more apt to invite you back the following year. If they're like, okay, this person has a great personality, they're respectful, they treat our customers kind. All right. Because it's not just about you, but it's also, if you treat the customers kind, they're going to want to come back and buy. So if everybody in that show is just kind and respectful and grateful and humble, believes in customer service, then customers are more apt to come back. I know that show. I know I'm going to get some great products. The people are really nice. I feel like I'm supporting, good people. Then people will come back. But if you're rude, you're picky, you annoy the heck out of them with your little requests, making things their problem, that's your problem, they will not be inviting you back. They're not sending you a flyer. They're not doing any of that. And I've seen that face to face. I'm like, oh my goodness. Now, tip number 5, stay away from know-it-alls and negative Nancy's. Do not forget why you are there in the first place. And that is to sell your products, to educate your clients about what you do and why they should purchase from you. This isn't the time to sit and complain about the conditions of the show, no or low sales, talk about silly clients. You got to keep your eye focused on the goal, because why enter the show then? I'm not paying money to enter the show, travel miles to get there, make my product, package my product, go through all the pre-show stuff to sit there and complain the entire time. Now, some of the people that I noticed that would do a lot of sitting and complaining, these are people like, this is just my hobby. I don't really care. I'm not invested. Well, ma'am, I'm running a full business here. Okay, this is my bread and butter. This is business for me. This isn't no little side hobby that I'm just getting some change on the side. I could care less. First of all, I wouldn't do that even if it was, because I have a different mindset. But second of all, this is the main business. This is my job. What do you do in the other than this? This. And when I wake up in the morning, I still do this. This is my job. So because it is my job, I take it very seriously. So no, I don't want to get there and hear you complaining. I don't want to hear, well, in the previous shows, this and that, but today, this, I don't want to hear none of that. And that's why it's like, sometimes I stop making eye contact with people if I know that they're like that. You could just tell. You can just tell somebody just ready to complain. It's just like they lips just vibrating when they see you. I try not to make eye contact with them people. I'm just not going to lie. I try not to, because I can see the complaining on the tip of their tongue. They're getting ready to complain and I don't want to hear it. I don't want my mindset messed up for that day. I've already set the intention for that day to come, to sell, to educate, to put my best foot forward. I don't want to hear your crap. I don't care. Just gonna be honest. And y'all don't care. You don't. And it's distracting. I got the first time. I know that ain't no word, but I'm saying it. I got the first time. One lady was talking. I thought she was being friendly. Her conversation died, like nose diving into complaining. I was like, what the heck? So while she was over there yabbing and complaining, people started coming to my booth and wanting to look at my stuff and wanting to ask questions, but she's still standing there complaining. So I'm like, how do I get rid of this lady so that I can go and tend to my customers? I don't want to just walk off. So she was still intentional about standing there and complaining and murmuring and all that, her sales, what she didn't get, what she wanted or whatever. So I'm sitting here like, this lady is not going anywhere. So I had to politely tell her, excuse me, but I have customers. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I take care of those customers. And then she just kind of snarked and walked off. The heck? So this is the reason why you don't entertain that. Okay, because you don't have time for that. People like that are selfish. I'm not saying there aren't things that don't piss you off. I'm not saying there aren't things that you notice that's like, well, that wasn't fair. That's not right. I get it. But you don't have time for that. Again, you paid your money. You put in all the work to be there. So you can't focus on people being negative or the type of ignorant clients you might run into. You just can't focus on that type of stuff because it'll throw you off. And then when you have clients that actually come to your booth that want to buy from you, now all of a sudden you have to straighten your face up, get rid of that negative spirit so that you can be your normal self for people that do want to come and buy from you and do want to invest in what you have. All right. The other thing are the know-it-alls. They know everything about everything. They know everything about everybody's business. All of that. Stay away from them too. It's the same thing. It's a distraction. You don't have time for that. All right. Tell them to go to the club or some good old boys, whatever, and have a conversation with them about all of that. You're not there for that. You're there to make money. That's the bottom line. You're not paying $50 to $100 to $200 for booth fees for friends. Yes, you can establish connections with people, build some great relationships. That can happen, but that's not your primary focus for doing all that you did to get there. You need to make money. So you got to keep that mind set, not be rude and standoffish. Like, shut up, don't say nothing to me because I'm here to make some money. But politely, hello, how are you doing? Oh, that's great. Your products are amazing, and keep it moving. All right. The other thing, and this kind of is in line with your booth mates. These are the people that tend to not share a booth with you, but they're either to the right or to the left of you. Tip number 6, do not feel the pressure to tell your booth mates what you made. Trust me, you don't want to do that. You don't want to feel pressure. Oh, well, how much did you make today? What'd you leave out of here with? To me, I honestly always thought those questions were rude. But I always try to say, oh, I did all right today. I try to give a general response because I don't want people to know what I made. Sometimes I know based on customers that have come to my booth, I know I probably made more than them. And so I don't need nobody going back to their booth, snickering and sending all kind of negative energy my way. So I did all right. And 9 times out of 10, they've been staring at you anyway. They've been watching you, watching people come to your booth, watching people, your sales, money, cards being slid. You know what I'm saying? They didn't watch it. They see, they know. So always be modest, but don't feel pressure like you have to tell someone. And if you didn't make what you thought you would make, it happens. Just say, hey, I didn't make what my goal was, but I think I did all right. And at the end of the day, the bare bottom line, this isn't your goal. But at the bare minimum, if you've made your booth fee and enough gas to get back home, it's not all a loss. But again, that's not your goal. Your goal is to make money, and more money than booth fee. Okay. Now, tip number 7, make sure your booth stays clean, you present well, and display your products beautifully. People see your booth before they see you. So you want to have, images, clean lines, decor, things that draw people in. Even if you just sell, basic products, it's okay. Display them well. If you're someone that likes minimalism and that type of thing, it's okay. Make sure you have clean lines. Your booth looks interesting, that type of thing, because it'll draw people in. There was this one lady, and I'm going to try not to be too descriptive because I don't know if she listens to my podcast or not, but there's this one lady that, oh my goodness, she was selling sweaters and shirts and all this other kind of stuff. And I noticed that she just kind of threw them on the table, and they had like stains on them and all. It looked like she just dug them out of a box, shook them off, and just laid them on the table. That obviously didn't present well. She didn't get a lot of people coming by, and the people that did come by, they lifted it up. They probably looked at the stain and was like, nah, lady, come on. And so they walked off, right? Rightfully so. I would have done the same thing. Oh, thank you, and walk off. The other thing, she didn't present well. She looked like she rolled out of the bed. Okay. She got a lawn chair and then sat there and is trying to sell some stuff. Again, you have to treat this like it's your business. This is your shop. This is your store. This little 10 by 10 foot space is your business for that day. and you want to make sure that you present well. I don't care if you are out in the field somewhere. I don't care if you're in a barn. I don't care if you're at an elementary school. There is no reason why you should not present yourself well, present your product well. If you want people to buy it, present it well. It doesn't have to be perfect, but present it well. With my product, I take time in the visual aspect of it because I'm a visual person. So I don't expect people to come buy my teas from me if they see it in a Ziploc bag with a little sticker hanging off the side. I don't expect that. They might, but I don't expect it. So present your product well, present yourself well. Find somebody that has a Cricut to print you up a few t-shirts and maybe one collared polo shirt with your logo on it. Something to help you look like, okay, I'm serious. I'm serious about my product. I'm serious about what I do, But if you presenting dirty and all of that in your product, they don't know what they're getting. They don't know, if they open up a can, like what's going to happen, so I'm just goofy by nature, y'all. But it's anything could happen. They don't know what's going to come home with them. So don't do that. Just be careful. Okay. Just be careful. Keep yourself clean, keep your booth clean, and you will get sales. All right. Now, number 8, always be ready to engage with potential customers, but don't hound them. So what I mean by this is don't be sitting on your phone looking disinterested. If somebody's asking you a question, you got 1 or 2 word answers. Trust me, people are going to walk away. When people first come to your booth, give them an open statement. What is your business? What products do you have? Okay. And then say, hey, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, but look around and I'm here to answer any questions you might have. Okay. Let them know all of that and then back off. Give them an opportunity to look. And this intro that you give should take no more than 30 seconds. Okay. And make it interesting. It doesn't have to be gimmicky, but what is this? What is this booth? What kind of products do you have? What are they good for? And feel free to look. Or if you have samples, which I tend to recommend if you're selling herbal products, let them sample a little bit of something. Okay? But back off and let them look. You don't want every time they touch a product, and I've had this happen to me, every time I touch a product, oh, well, that does this and this and this and this. Oh, well, if you look at this and that, it's like, okay, just give me a sec. I don't even know if I want it yet. Let me just look at it first. Nobody wants to feel pressured. Even if you've been out there all day, it's hot, you ain't sold but maybe one thing, don't feel the pressure to hound people. Trust me, you don't want to get into that habit. I've seen it happen. People are like, let me walk off because this is too much. I can't even look at what you have because you're harassing me. Trying to get me a purchase, obviously, and it looks desperate and you don't want to do that. All right, tip number 9. Understand that most people might carry negative views about herbs and herbal products. So a lot of people are still coming to the understanding of how herbs can help them. Some people may have worked with someone before that has knowledge on herbal products and maybe they've gotten screwed over. Some people have no knowledge of it at all. Some people go off of myths and things they've heard, whether it be on social media, TV, whatever. People come from a variety of backgrounds with a variety of different, preconceived notions about what herbs are, what they are not, what they can do, and what they cannot do. So you have to use this time to educate them. I've had some people come up to me and come up to my booth being very sarcastic or, seemingly challenging, but I'm always up for the challenge. That's just me. But I have no problem. I'm still professional. I'm still kind. But I have no problem educating people. And once you provide that education, it usually backs those type of people down because they're like, oh, well, this person knows what they're talking about. They're not a snake oil salesman. They really are passionate about what they are doing and they have the knowledge. So sometimes it's not always about making the sale, even though that's what you're there for. Sometimes it's about education. And I've been able to sell to people because I've provided the education. And so that's how you can turn those skeptics into customers because they're like, oh no, she's serious. She knows her stuff, or he's serious. He knows his stuff. And so let me try this and it probably will work for me. All right. So let's go to tip number 10. Don't buy cheap tents, stands, or etc. Spend the money up front and it will last you all season. Now, my first tent, it was cheap. Okay. It blew over. It got crumbled. I thought I had bought a pretty good standard one. You know, I was reading all the reviews and all of that. I thought it was good until the rain tested it. And it was like, nope, it folded that tent up and I got a lot of product damage. So I got an even better tent. Okay. Cost me more money, but it has lasted me all season and beyond. All right. So as tempting as it may be to buy the $79 tent from your local store, you can have it as a backup. If you just know there's not going to be any type of heavy winds or rain, you can have it as a backup, right? But if you can afford it or even save up for it, get a strong tent and ways to secure it. Okay? Because it needs to last you all season. Nobody wants to keep buying $79 tents, 5-6 times. You might as well just put all that money together and get one of those big ones. Okay? Industrial commercial tents. Okay? And again, save up for it. It's fine. But for those times when that rain or wind gets heavy, it will test your tent. And it has happened. Now, as far as your stands are concerned, I like repurposing stuff. So I tend to go to our local restore, thrift stores and stuff like that. I like the heavier wood and things like that. So I tend to get my stands and stuff from there and I repurpose them. They're heavier. They provide a unique look to my booth. So I tend to go that route. If you want to go online and buy stuff there, you can do it as well. If you want to get those gates that kind of go around and you can hang your stuff, I thought about doing that this go round. You can do that as well. Something to secure your product, even in the event of heavy winds and that type of stuff. But yeah, don't buy cheap. Don't buy cheap. Not in that regard. Now, thrift store for repurposing furniture and those type of things, you can get a good bargain, but not with your tent. All right. Tip number 11, handle disgruntled and disrespectful customers with care. So customer service is always important. You want to keep those skills sharp. And if it gets crazy, then you want to notify the appropriate people. Now I haven't had any customers that have just been all right, disrespectful where I felt like my safety, you know what I mean? And maybe because how I carry myself, I probably look like I'm not the one to mess with, but that doesn't mean that I haven't had clients or customers get smart or be sarcastic, but they usually say what they got to say and walk off. And so you always want to keep a sense of professionalism. Make sure if there was an issue, like there was one time where I had sold a lip scrub to this lady and I had pulled it out. I ran out of them. So I went into my container underneath the table, pulled it out and just handed it to her. And she walked off. It was no problem. Well, next thing you know, she comes back to my booth pissed because she opened it and there was nothing in there. And I was like, uh-oh, so she was mad, but I kind of made light of it and I apologized for it. And I gave her one that was full and asked her, if she wanted anything else. You just make light of it, be respectful, but don't respond with their energy. If they're coming negative and angry, that doesn't mean that you go and escalate the situation. De-escalate it. I apologize. It was my wrong. Here's how I corrected it and move forward. That's it. Don't go, well, that ain't my problem. You walked away with it. You should have opened it before you left here. Like, no. Accept responsibility. Let's be adults. Accept responsibility for what you've done wrong. Rectify it and then move on. Okay? Don't go any further than that. All right. Tip number 12, set a dollar goal. So in the beginning, I talked about being intentional about what you would like to have for that day, what you would like to do for that day. Be intentional. Okay. So set a dollar goal. What would you like to at least make? Sometimes I've done that. Well, really all times I do that. And sometimes I've hit my goal. Sometimes I've come short of the goal. But at the end of the day, I have a goal. Not the standard, at least I made my booth fee goal. Okay. That ain't what I'm talking about. Hey, if I can at least make my booth fee, that's it. No. That's obvious, right? That's not a goal that you want to make. Set a dollar goal because this will also put a little fire under you to be more engaging with the customers, to get out there and say, hey, this is the product that I have. This is what it can do for you. This is how it can benefit you. If you have a goal, rather than, hey, at least if I just make my booth fee, I'm fine. So that means you'd be fine with customers just dragging in and out. Maybe you'll talk to this one. Maybe you'll talk to that one. Your mentality is, let me just get enough. Like, let me just make $50 and I'm straight. But like I told you before, it's not just the $50. That's not the only expense that you incur. You're talking gas, you're talking time, you're talking product. If you're far enough away, you're talking hotel, food. So products, tape, toilet paper. I had to bring my own toilet paper to one. It was actually kind of funny. But you're talking these things. So it's not just your $50 booth fee. Okay. So you want to have above and beyond mentality when it comes to setting a dollar goal, right? Not the standard one. All right. And the last tip number 13, don't forget to have fun and stay positive. You want to make connections. You want to sell products. You want to celebrate wins. Don't let people get to you, because on this journey, you're going to learn more about yourself, your products, and your customer base as you go along. And the information that you will gain by attending these shows is better than what most business schools might teach you. So be open to the process, be intentional about your day, and don't let anyone steal your joy. This is your time to enjoy this season. If you're someone that is not really comfortable in selling, because me personally, I don't feel I'm a salesman. I feel like I can tell you about my product. I'm passionate about my product. It works, but I don't have the salesman aspect like most people would have. And so before I was just kind of like, oh, well, yeah, this is this and this. But now I feel like I've gotten bolder. I feel like I've, stepped out more of my own comfort zone, and I don't have that use it because it works. There is a business element to this thing, right? So I've grown, and you're going to continue to grow, and I'm going to continue to grow the more and more that I do this. So enjoy the journey and enjoy your season. And this, folks, is how you can survive your craft fair and your vendor fair season. I wish you peace and blessings on this journey. Sell much. Enjoy the journey. And if you like what you heard, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please follow me on all of my social media platforms at The Demystified Herbalist. And until next time, family, I'm out.